Welcome to this week's episode of Confessions of a Fitness Professional. I'm your fitness professional, Andra Anderson, and I want to talk about inclusivity in fitness. Is group fitness inclusive? And what do we mean by that? So I'm going to start off with a little bit of kind of a big statement in saying that I don't think group fitness is completely inclusive. I think group fitness has become more inclusive, and individual group fitness instructors can be inclusive, but I think there are so many moving pieces to inclusivity in the group fitness environment that we're not quite there yet. And what do I mean by that? So inclusivity in group fitness means that the classes are open to all, that classes are accessible to all, that classes consider everything from age range, ability, mobility, physical ability, to emotional ability, to mental ability. And it's really difficult to say that group fitness as a whole can be inclusive to all different kinds of individuals and different kinds of groups. Now, that being said, I know, and especially having become more affiliated with the Y I teach at the Y in Queen Anne's County in Centerville. They're building a whole new facility that will open in the fall, which is very exciting. But I think I've seen more offerings to be more inclusive. So there are special group classes, there are seated classes, there are various level classes, which I think is amazing. But I will say, when I first entered the group fitness scene back in 2009, there was a long way to go when it came to being inclusive in the group fitness community, not just in class, but generally in fitness. I know I've talked before with you about my own barriers to becoming a group fitness instructor and how I felt like it wasn't really for me and my approach and my body type, that was not as accepted as other individuals, other looks, that kind of thing. So right off the bat, just in terms of the people who are the individuals who become certified to teach group fitness, that has changed immensely in the last 15 years. I'm seeing way more individuals be able to get certified, way more individuals being encouraged to get certified, and way more instructors. So instructors that look all kinds of ways, shapes, sizes, ages. It's kind of amazing that there are so many opportunities, and there should be. I mean, when you get into the fitness industry, it's so needed. It's so needed by so many individuals, and there needs to be a wide variety of instructors, because I'm not going to be your only instructor, and I'm not going to be the best cup of tea for you, but there will be somebody for you. So that's just the instructor side. And I will say, what I get the idea for these weekly podcasts from messages from you, from conversations that I'm having with you or other instructors. And this week's topic was fueled by a response to something I posted on Instagram. So it's really entertaining that I've been on social media since the beginning of my fitness career, since I could. I've been on, starting with Facebook when Facebook was super hot, and I think Facebook definitely still has its place, especially in the group fitness game. I rely on it a lot for my fitness posting, groups, all those kinds of things, but also Instagram. And information is just so easy to grab and share and repost that sometimes you get caught in the frenzy of all of it and don't necessarily think something completely through before you share it. And I know that definitely happened to me this past weekend, and I had a great follower who reached out and said, hey, you might want to consider this when it comes to posting something like that. And I was just like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for letting me know. Basically, I reposted something that indicated that be bigger than your excuses, which we say all the time in the fitness industry. But that if you're feeling like lethargic or sleepy or low energy, the thing that you need to do is get up and go work out, because working out produces energy, produces, the energy creates energy, basically, like I think I've talked about before on here. But this individual who reached out to me indicated that one of the things that kept them from being able to work out was a lack of oxygen in the body that they didn't realize that they had. So it was not a matter of not wanting to get up and work out. It was like they physically were unable to work out, and they felt so bad and awful and lazy because they thought that they were doing something wrong, and really it was their body didn't have the ability to get through a class. So it is always so good to get those reminders. I can think of a couple of other instances where I've been educated by members and clients and followers, which I just so appreciate. So another time, it was really hot. Oh my gosh, was it 10 years ago, to talk about the idea of that's my spirit animal. I feel like it was just so widely used in all kinds of different social posts. It was all over media and things like that. Oh, you're my spirit animal. That girl's my spirit animal. That is my spirit animal. And I had a client educate me on, that's actually kind of offensive. And XYZ, here's why. In Native American culture, it's a very sacred thing. And it's not something that we should just be going off and calling something a spirit animal, because it's not actually technically a spirit animal. So I definitely changed my dialogue there. Another thing I try to be really conscious of, and this also comes from working with teenage students who are learning and growing into their own identities. I've been trying to stop saying her, she, or ladies and gentlemen. I've been trying to go for non-gender specific things like peeps, clients, friends, things like that. Instead of saying, hey you guys, here we go, I try to say, hey y'all, or hey friends, let's get this party started, or whatever it might be. So I'm trying to be really conscious about what language I'm using. I think that is probably one of the barriers, one of the things that we have to get ourselves away from using certain terminology, because it really is not inclusive of all of our clients, and we need to be prepared to talk to everybody and include everybody, even in our greeting. So I know those are things that I have been so fortunate to have very kind people in my client, member, and fitness sphere to educate me. And it can seem really kind of scary at first when somebody calls you out for something that you are unintentionally doing. But I think the goodness is in the response. So anytime somebody comes at me with that information, I say, oh my gosh, thank you so much for offering that perspective. I had not looked at it that way. That had never occurred to me. I am willing to listen and learn and do what it takes to, in the future, make better calls or better decisions or use better language. So I think the response is everything. I know that a lot of the classes that I teach are not accessible to all individuals, and I get that. And I think we're starting to see, even on big gyms, websites, having levels of participation. So this class is designed for somebody that is mobile in all four limbs, for example, or this class is designed for people who would like to sit in a chair. This is a chair class. So I think we're getting better at our offerings and our descriptions. I think it's probably not possible. I don't want to say not possible. I think it's less likely that individual instructors, I will say it right now, I will never be 100% accessible to everybody. And I think the types of things that I teach will unfortunately not be accessible. I think I can be accessible in my kindness and in my my wellness offerings, but my physical classes at the moment are absolutely not accessible to everybody. And I don't think we need to beat ourselves up as instructors for that. I think instead we need to align ourselves with others who are offering something different so that we can be a complete package and offer more to people. That's why I think the fitness industry doesn't need to be competitive, because there's going to be a need for everybody that is willing to teach, willing to grow, willing to educate. There's a place for all of us. And I'm not saying that it's impossible or unheard of that we be super accessible, but I think we're not going to be able to be completely accessible to all individuals at every single class. However, I think that we do have room to educate ourselves on what that means and how best to approach different situations. So I will say this, group fitness is not a one size fits all. It is very personalized, and it should be very personalized. But I think there should be options for everybody. If you're an individual who wants to take a group fitness class, but you don't necessarily look or move like the others in that class, there should be an option for you. There should be. And I think we're starting to see that turn. We're starting to see instructors really offering more, getting more certified, getting more educated to provide a wider array of those things. Everything from chair classes to like aqua classes that really take the stress off of the joints and the body. I think we're seeing more like walking clubs and things like that if your accessibility is financially limited, we're seeing more opportunities like that. So being inclusive, it doesn't have to be you 100% all of the time, because it is, I'm gonna say it, it's impossible to provide absolutely everything for absolutely everyone. But I think you need to understand what the boundaries are in your class. So I know I used to advertise like my yoga classes as open to all levels, but that's not necessarily true. It's not necessarily true. You really want to be very tight with the language on how you describe your offering so that you make sure that it's open to a wide variety of people, but it showcases exactly what you're going to get in that class. Because truthfully, I'm not equipped to offer yoga to everybody. It is, honestly, it's not completely accessible to all. And I try to provide variations for movements and things like that. So of course, if we have a conversation and you come in and you say, hey, I had a client that had wrist surgery and had these really awesome blocks and special blocks, and we had to kind of modify movements and do variations, but they were still willing to participate in the group environment because they wanted the group environment. So being able to personalize it in that way. Now I know it's really hard in group fitness. It's very hard to try to make it a personal journey for everybody who comes, especially if your classes are really full. I get that, but do the best you can. Do the best you can. Okay, so I have some top tips for creating a better, more inclusive environment when it comes to group fitness. So this is if you are a fitness professional or a group fitness instructor, or if you're just, honestly, if you're a fitness enthusiast, let me know if these are all correct and resonate with you. But I have a few. So my first tip is that first impressions matter. So if somebody comes to your class that doesn't necessarily look like the others who have come to your class before, or they don't have the same abilities, they can read it in your face if you are upset, disappointed, or scared or nervous. But I think it's okay to be honest about those things, to be like, I'm so glad you're here. First impressions matter. You want to make sure they feel welcome, right? I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for letting me know about your abilities, or thank you for letting me try to help you work through some modifications. Here's what we can do today. Now, if you're coming at an instructor 5 minutes before a class at a fitness facility, they're going to do the best that they can to accommodate you for that class, but please don't be off-put if something magical cannot happen in that moment. But I promise you that instructor will be racking their brain for the next time that you come and will be prepared for you and providing some different options for you. I think group fitness instructors are creative and we think on our feet a lot. So 9 times out of 10 we'll be able to provide something that will allow you to have a great class experience, but giving us a little warning or a little time is just going to make the experience a little bit better for you. So first impressions matter. With that, creating a welcoming space, like as an instructor, being there a few minutes early, because sometimes I'll find if somebody does need some pretty severe modifications or is looking for a way to make the class work for them, they'll usually come early and they'll want to have that conversation with you. So make sure you're there early, you're all set up, and you're inviting and ready to have those conversations with people, because we want to provide as personal a journey as possible in a group fitness class, as much as we can. Of course, we want to help you. We want to help you. Celebrate all. So this is something every time I start a class in a new location, I'm just reminded. I've had some people with me for a very long time who can kind of anticipate my next move or really know my choreography style the best, so they can kind of like follow along a little faster. But I'm building at the Y. So I have people that have never taken a class with me ever before in their lives. We've never met before. So I can't expect them to have all the nuances down or know all the moves, and I have to think about how best to introduce those movements and what kinds of cues they will rely on. So we use verbal cues, we use kind of hand gestures like this way, or start at the top from the head, or my physical body movement. I need to be like a half a second before everybody else, or a full 8 count or move before everybody else to kind of prepare people. Some people like to follow along that way. Some people like the words, some people like the big eyes or the hands up, like stop, turn around, do this, do that. So I have to sort of learn what approach is best for the clients that are coming to class. And that's something that your fitness instructor will be doing while teaching, and one of the many things that we worry about while we're teaching. The other tip I have is that it's in the response. So being off-putting immediately by saying like, this is not the class for you. Like, no, you can't come in today. I mean, that would just crush somebody. I'm gonna say, yeah, there will be classes that are not accessible to all. And again, I think we're constantly making strides to change that narrative, but at the moment, like there's gonna be classes that aren't accessible to all people, and being able to effectively communicate that without making somebody feel really badly about it would be really helpful. So instead of being like, no, you can't come in, or no, this is not for you. Thank you so much for being here today. This is what we're expecting to happen in this class today. How does that feel for you? Is that something that you think you'll be able to follow along with? Or do you think that there might be another class that would be more appropriate for you at this level or at this moment in your journey? And 9 times out of 10, there's gonna be another class that's really good for them at that moment in their journey. So just providing a happy space, a welcoming space, even if the class is not the best for that person. Be personable, right? Use your own stories. Be a real individual. That's another tip. Just be real. Be a real person. Be a real human being. Understand that not everybody is going to be the best fit for your class, and that's okay. But along that note, I would say it's good to educate yourself and be willing to learn. So I'm always open and willing to learn and grow and change my phrases or wording, or look into certifications to find variations and modifications that will fit more individuals, so that I can provide a good environment for a wider group of people. Like that is amazing. And it's impossible to know everything. Like we're not born knowing everything. We have to grow and learn, and it's gonna be a little uncomfortable the first time that you encounter something new. You're not maybe gonna know what to do, but give attention to it, be kind, and be willing to go put in the work to figure out the solution. It's gonna be uncomfortable. You might be embarrassed about what you've said or done. Oh my gosh, will you be embarrassed? Like I the things that I used to say, like no pain, no gain. Oh, I'm so embarrassed by the words and phrases that I used to use when I first started teaching fitness, like go hard or go home. Like, what, I literally want to go home. That's like all I ever want to do. So, if you're not sweating, you're not getting it, or sweating for the wedding, all of those different phrases. Like, yes, I cringe when I go back and think about the things that I used to say. But guess what? That means you're growing and you're learning and you're becoming more accessible, more accepted, more accepting. And that is all you can ask for, just to be willing to learn, to take the moment to educate yourself, to be willing to listen to your community when they try to tell you things, because your clients are going to be experts in things that you are not an expert in. And it is their opportunity to teach you and your opportunity to grow and learn and be better for them. And that will make you a better instructor every single time. Again, you're not going to have the perfect answer every time, but approach it with kindness and be willing to learn. That's the best that you can do. And that's my final. Do the best that you can until you know better. Do the best and be the best that you can until you learn better. Be willing. You're gonna make a mistake. It's gonna happen. You're human. You don't know everything. You're gonna make a mistake. But it's in that initial response and the willingness to grow and learn that will set you apart from other instructors. So all of that to say, I support you, and you're doing great. Keep going, keep being willing to listen and learn, and that's the best that we can do. That's the best that we can do. I think fitness is becoming more inclusive and accessible, and isn't that so exciting? Like, it should be for everybody, and it will be for everybody, and it can be for everybody. So with that, go forth, be kind, be willing to learn, be willing to listen, be willing to grow, and you will continue to be a rock star fitness professional and instructor. So with that, I will see you for our next session. Always hit that subscribe button if you're here on YouTube or on the podcast. I'd love a 5-star review wherever you listen, and always hit me up with questions or comments or things that different topics that you want me to cover. I'm all ears. I would love to learn and grow with you. Bye.